How are you going to complain that it's hard to be the man, but then also understand that being the man has value? They are linked. You cannot separate the two. It's a logic fail. If you love the idea of being that character you dream of yourself to be, then you should love the fact it's hard to become that man, because it means no one else can do it. This is what I love. I love everything about my life. I know the shit I've been through to become who I am. And I wouldn't trade a second of it, because there's also this massive juxtaposition, which is so important for masculine happiness and contentment. I'll tell you the coolest thing about being rich. Remember when I was broke? That's all it is. It's only cool to sit there with my brother in the fucking Nurse Rat restaurant with Salt Bae being an idiot, spending 15 G's and saying, do you remember when we didn't have a penny?
Right.
15 grand for dinner. We never had 15 grand in our savings account in our lives.
Damn.
Do you remember that time we were living off those 10p packs of noodles for 2 weeks? Do you remember? You need this juxtaposition. There is no light without dark. You will not appreciate your six pack unless you didn't have one and you had to earn it. That's how the world works. So when I talk to these dudes like, oh, but it's, you know what, Tate? Yeah, I agree, but you know, it's hard. It's hard. Of course it is. It's supposed to be. And if you're not cut out for it, then fuck off and live a normal existence and die. Sit there, letting other men enjoy the spoils of being a man and fucking die. If that's what you want to do, is just sit there and exist and then fade into history unremembered. That's your decision. People say that depression is stigmatized. It's the complete opposite. It's accepted now to the point where it's almost promoted. It's insane. Let me tell you something. Depression is not real. Feeling depressed is real. You can feel depressed, but you feel depressed, and that is a natural biological evolutionary trigger for you to change something in your life. That's your own mind telling you you're unhappy about X. If I went to jail today, I'd be depressed because I'm in jail. Right. I haven't caught depression. I don't have a disease. I'm just upset with my situation. Yep. I have people mess with me all the time. I'm fat and I can't get a girlfriend because I'm depressed. I'm like, no, pancake lover. You're depressed because you're fat and you can't get a girlfriend. Do you understand? This is the point, right? So for a lot of people, your life is depressing. A lot of you out there, if you're sitting there and you say you suffer from depression, you probably live a depressing life. You probably live a depressing life. So if I was you, I'd be depressed. But if you were me, you'd be happy. Do you know what could solve depression for most poor people? $1 million in the bank. Yeah. Boom. So how is it a disease? This absolute acceptance of depression and acceptance of weakness. When you accept anything, to a degree, you're promoting it. Weakness is promoted now in men, right? Yeah. So let's take Robin Williams as an example. Robin Williams killed himself.
I was just going to say him.
Yeah. Robin Williams, right? Famous. He can be banging 19-year-olds for the rest of his life. Multi-millionaire. Everyone loves him. How could he possibly kill himself? I'll tell you why. Because when he walked into the therapist's office and said, I feel depressed, the therapist said, okay, here's some mind-altering drugs. Start taking these for the next 10 years. He was in therapy for 10 years. Oh, God. If I had to take mind-altering drugs and talk about sad shit for 6 hours a day for 10 years, I'd kill myself. But if he would have walked into the therapist's office and the therapist said to him, you're Robin Williams. There are people in the world with no food. Yeah. There are families in Syria. There are school buses being bombed in Yemen. There are people who lost their entire family in a car crash today. You're Robin Williams and everyone you love is in perfect health. You're a selfish idiot. Get out of my office. Get some ball. Bam. He'd still be alive today. The cure made it worse. And this whole society of accepting depression, as soon as someone's depressed, instantly go to them. Oh, poor you. It's okay. We know you can't help it. You can't help it. Why are you telling people they can't help it? Why are you reinforcing that mindset in people? If you come to me and say you're depressed, I say, I will fix you. And you know what's crazy? When I said this depression thing wasn't real, do you know how many people stuck up for depression? You don't understand. I'm depressed. Depression's real. I was like, if it's so horrible, why are you defending it? You sound like it's a PR team. Why? I thought it was ruining your life, but you are desperate for me to believe in it. You want me to believe in it. You're sticking up for it. You're defending depression. Yeah. Trying to convince me it's real because it's your cure-all excuse for failure. When you're depressed, you can fail in every human metric. I fail at everything, but I'm depressed. It's not my fault. No, you're a failure. That's all you are because you're not trying very hard. If you live in a house, I say this all the time. This is the reason I don't believe in depression. Because I don't believe in depression, I cannot become depressed. Yeah. No matter what the worst thing that could possibly happen to me on earth, I will feel sad, but I will recover and I will not become depressed because I don't believe in depression. If you're in an old haunted house, right? You have two people in two haunted houses. One one believes in ghosts and one doesn't. You hear some noise in the night. The wind blows, right? The man who believes in ghosts is like, oh no, a ghost. Now he's scared, right? He wants an exorcist. He can't sleep. He's scared about ghosts. He's paranoid. The guy who doesn't believe in ghosts goes, wind, whatever, and goes back to sleep. Do you understand that it's the belief that gives it power?
Right.
If you don't believe in ghosts, the ghost can't hurt you. If you don't believe in depression, you can't become depressed. And I refuse to believe in something that's going to weaken me. Why would I believe in something that's going to weaken my ability to deal with problems in life? Why would I do that? I'm temporarily immortal. Do you understand? Do you understand? I'm temporarily immortal, and I'm not going to waste my living years believing in things which take power from me, because I'm not an idiot. So if you're going to sit there and go, depression is real, actually, you don't understand the problems I'm going through, you're a moron. You are a moron. And the great thing about morons is, as you lose, there's no light without dark, right? There's no joy without pain. Of course. For me to be a winner, there needs to be losers. If you want to be depressed and sit around broke while I'm flexing in the Lambo, then do it. Go do it. But you're not going to convince me to join your way of thinking. The last thing, anyone who's watching this, I want you to understand, the last thing you should ever do is adopt the thinking of someone who is sad. Bam. Why would you want to think like the sad person? I'm sad and I'm semi-suicidal. You should have the same views and beliefs as me. Get the fuck out of here.
No,
depression. It ain't real. There, I'm just blowing out the water. It's not real. You can come at me and say whatever you want. It's not real.
The bumpy road to better. A lot of people teach about better as if it were magic, as if it would happen simply or easily. In reality, it's not that simple.
Listen, folks, success is hard.
It's not easy. It's hard changing your life.
You don't get old without having suffered loss. Every year brings some sort of challenge with it. As you go along the way, you gain some things and you lose some things. You win some battles and you lose some battles.
We just need to get that part straight.
And wisdom develops in the life of those who have capitalized on their pain to draw conclusions. How you react to the famine determines whether you make it to the food. You can't just pray against the famine. You can't just stay in the same spot and do the same things that you've always done and expect to get a different result. You've got to take action.
The difference between a dream and a wish is something you just hope it happens. But a dream, you put actions behind. Wishing isn't going to get you anywhere.
We don't understand the human requirement in the miracles of God. We walk away with praise to God, but absolve ourselves of human responsibility.
You can pray, God, help me to feel better. Are you eating right? Are you exercising? Then God will do what you're asking. But you can't override natural laws and expect to live a blessed, healthy life.
God has created us to be collaborative in the miraculous. That we have a responsibility to take action. Just because you're spiritual doesn't mean you get to pray for a job and stay at home. I'm just going to watch TV and hit the remote control. You'll never get to better if you don't get on the road. Jacob says, if you don't move, you're going to die. How could you let me die and I'm a child of God? You didn't move. And don't act like God has failed you when you have failed to move.
When he sees you doing all you can, then he'll make things happen that you can't. Make this decision. I am not going to live complacent, passive. I'm going to pursue what God put in my heart.
God has an incredible life for you. But you got to be willing to go through something to get to it. Success ain't free. You got to go get it.
Look at somebody and say, it'll work if you work it. Whatever it is you are trying to build, if you won't be hungry for it, if you won't sweat for it, you don't have the right to get it. You have not got the right. What is your goal, and how much work will you put into it in order to get what you're trying to get from God? How much?
How bad do you want what God has put in your heart? You have to be more determined than the opposition. Your attitude is, if I have to believe my whole life, I'm not going to stop believing. I'm going to keep pursuing what God put in my heart.
I rebuke every giving up spirit. I rebuke every quitting spirit. The devil is a lie. He's trying to talk you out of your future and tell you you cannot do what God called you to do. Every discouraged person, every person who's been feeling like it's just not working, this was your message. It will work if you work it. The church has failed its parishioners because we have been real heavy on the praise and real light on the business. God will use famine as an instrument to force you out of your comfort zone. It'll make you move. It'll make you travel. It'll put you on the road. Somebody say, I'm on the road. I'm on the road to better. There's something I'm after. There's something I want to see done. And I'm tired of sitting around assessing the same old troubles and going through the same old things. I'm tired of complaining. I got to move from here. Deliver me from people who will not take action. And God says action is required on you. You got to get on the road. And God knows that some of us won't move if we're too comfortable. Many are the times that I've had people come up and say, I want a double portion of your spirit. And I say, do you want a double portion of my trouble? Because you can't get a double portion of my spirit until you can stand a double portion of my trouble.
You know what I can't stand when I hear Christians say, if it was a Lord's will, I would have had some money by now. You can't dump that on God.
Too many people in society fall back on the word luck, not knowing the circumstances of someone else's success. And let me tell you how insulting that sounds to somebody who has literally grinded to build something worthwhile. When you say that guy got lucky, you're telling yourself subconsciously that you believe that you are not in control of your circumstances. You weren't pointing out how lucky he was when he couldn't pay his bills. Or how about when he's working on weekends and holidays when you're out celebrating with your family? Where were you?
See, we sit back and hate on people when it's not them having that is our enemy. It's us not moving that is.
Quit believing in luck and start believing in work.
You can believe in God all you want, but if you don't work, man, it ain't going to happen. He said faith without works is dead.
The only thing that performs a miracle of increase called equity is called putting wisdom into labor. And this labor now can perform a miracle. Number one, do what you can. Get a list of the stuff you could do, you haven't done, postpone, and start cleaning that up. Don't walk like other people walk. Don't postpone like other people postpone.
Do what you're going to do and do it now. If you put everything off till everything get right, when I get all my ducks lined up, is that right? What if it's not duck season?
Whatever your hands find to do, do it with all your might and do it with all your power.
You've got to fight to put all your efforts and energy into things that's productive and purposeful.
We have traded effectiveness for busyness. And we think because we're busy, we're effective.
Most people are just trying to get through the day. Here's what I want you to be committed to do. Learn to get from the day. Commit yourself to learning. Don't be casual in getting it. Casualness leads to casualties.
You're still breathing. You still got a pulse. You're not a loser. I'm depressed right now. No, you don't have the luxury of being depressed. Keep it moving. Most of us take our talents, our abilities, our skills to the graveyard. Rob the cemetery of your ideas.
Say amen, somebody.
Getting hit and hitting back, that's the essence of life. It's the essence of business. It's the essence of everything.
We're all going to fight. You're either fighting the system or you're fighting your own brain. You need to make a choice.
The whole reason God put men on this planet is to suffer. And the best men are the ones who suffered the most. I wouldn't be top G if I didn't suffer more than anyone else. You're a better man than everyone else if your life was a mess and it was a hardship, because you're not what happens to you. You are how you react to it. And the best men on earth are men who have had their parents die, their best friends betray them, their girl betray them, thrown in jail, their money stolen, stabbed, robbed. And every time something happened to them, they sat there and they looked in the mirror and said, what can I learn from this? How can I stop this happening? Those are the best men. Those are the men respect. Those are the men women want. Why do women love scars? Look, they tried to kill him and they can't. That's why I want him. The best men suffered. You find a man who's never been through suffering and nobody gives a shit about him. Men don't like him and women don't like him. Men are no good without it.
I don't know what's happened to men in the world today. They have none of this fire. Men used to wake up and walk in random directions with their friends. No Google Maps, no idea where they were going. Just walk in random directions to find people who were different to them and just conquer it. Just take it. Savages. You're supposed to have that inside of you, but enough brains to direct it in the correct direction to not end up in jail. But to wake up and say, no, I'm supposed to live a fantastic life. I'm supposed to be a king. Do you understand that me, Andrew Tate, I'm treated like a king? Restaurants don't even charge me. Oh, Mr. Tate, thank you for coming for free. I don't make reservations. I turn up. I can take anyone's girl off the table. I'm a king. How do you live as anything less? You know, I've done it. Doesn't that bother you? I say these things and there's two kinds of people. People who get angry and they're like, yeah, I need to live like that because I'm only going to live once. And then there's people who hard code. They just code. Oh, yeah, well, you know what? You're an idiot because it's from some anon account. The copers will never get anywhere. Any of you with a brain should just be angry. Like, my car costs more than your life, your house, everything. It's not even all about money. It's about the fact that, to me, the car is nothing. It's like, whatever, cheap, quick, whatever. Who cares? I want one. To you, it's a dream that will never come true. I don't know where the savagery in men has gone. It needs to come back, and it needs to come back in the correct direction. Anger is an extremely powerful motivating force. You should be angry. Too angry to sleep, too angry to be lazy. You don't struggle with motivation when you're angry. When you're furious, you're very motivated.
Anyone who knows me will tell you, if I'm awake, I'm working. I'm awake, I'm working. From the second I wake up, I'm on my laptop till the second I go to sleep. First thing I do when I wake up is check my phone. First thing I do is I work. And if I even do anything fun, I kill all the fun because I make it work. Oh, we have to film it. Oh, get this, need this scene. Filming having fun is not having fun ever. So I make it work. So I only enjoy work. I like to work because I like to feel proud of myself. I don't want to be happy. I want to feel proud of myself. So I rest when I sleep. Sure. If I'm ultimately tired and need a few extra hours in bed every once in a while, yeah. Okay, I'll do that. But I never just have a day. Tristan, back me up. Have I ever said I need a day where I just need a day off? Have you ever heard me say I need a day off?
No.
Ever. Like I work all the time. I think I've always understood that you can outwork people. Yes. You can truly outwork people, and you can outwork a lot of things about yourself as well. You can outwork a lot of negative emotions. You can outwork a lot of problems in your mind. Like people sit and say, oh, I'm unhappy or I'm sad. You don't have time. How do you find the time in the day to sit around thinking about being sad? Like, you have shit to do. Like I don't have time to sit around and contemplate how I feel because I'm busy. So how do you even have time for that? I've had people sit and give me long trotes on how they feel. And I'm like, where did you even come up with this shit? How long have you been sitting around just thinking about nothing? I don't have time for it. A plane defies gravity with speed. Momentum. That's all it does. If a plane stops moving forward, what happens? It falls down, right? So if you can do the same thing with yourself and your mentality and your problems and everyone else around you, you can outwork everybody. So I've always understood outwork people. And I also think that it's very easy to work hard and win when you're already winning. It's hard to get there. It starts off harder. It's harder to find a way to make money and work all the time and deal with all the bullshit and be at the bottom of whatever industry you're in and not have any reputation, whatever. But if I were to say to all of you right now, for every minute you body spar, you get $1,000. I guarantee we'd still be out there right now sparring. Everyone would be like, all right. So like, once you get to the point, like in my position where I know if I put the time in, I'm going to win, then how can I stop now?
Why do some men do what they do? Why did Elon decide to put rockets in space instead of just retire? He was rich after PayPal. Why?
Statement. That's fair.
Why did Alexander the Great need all that land? Why did men go to the Antarctic to try and cross the icy, barren, empty plains and freeze to death to just be the first men who did it? Why do that? You can't even put it on Facebook back then. Who gives a shit? Some men are built different, sir. Some men want to do it because it hasn't been done. And that is the reason why. They do not need much more motivation than the fact they will be first. There isn't much motivation to get on a rocket and be the first man on the moon because the probability is you're going to die or get stuck up there and never make it back. Or even if you do go and you do come back, half the people on earth won't believe you went at all. So why would you do that unless you're just that kind of guy? The fact that you will say to me, but it puts a target on your head shows me that God will never, ever give you my position of influence because along the way, you will have so many chances to be a which you will take, which will prevent you from ever getting to my echelon of capability and influence and power. Because if I gave a about having a target on my head at all, I wouldn't be sitting here right now and I wouldn't have the ability to do the things I can do.
That's fair.
So I don't care. I'm doing it because it must be done. There's an opportunity for it to be done, and I can do it better than anybody else.
Your mind and your body and your soul, created by God, have a degree of innate understanding of what's right and what's wrong. And if you go against that, you're going to feel guilt and you're going to feel shame and you're going to feel uneasy and you're not going to feel normal. If you're going to go through life and accept all the garbage they tell you to put inside of your brain, I don't believe you can be happy that way. I don't believe you can be a happy individual walking around pretending that blue is green, pretending that green is red, like staying in your house, being fearful, being afraid, hating your fellow man, believing in these narratives that there's no way you can ever get ahead because you're systematically oppressed and held down by some whatever. And if you absorb all this crap, you're going to be an unhappy person. So I think that either your mind is right and you're happy and you're resisting against the matrix, or you're an unhappy person who's absorbed the matrix programming and you're resisting against yourself. We're all going to fight. You're either fighting the system or you're fighting your own brain. You need to make a choice. Now, I personally would rather fight the system than sit inside of a self-destructive cycle looking at myself in the mirror. Yes, I need my 8th injection. Yes, I'm so sad. Like, that sounds worse to me than being canceled. So you can cancel me. But this battle's here for everyone. And I think if the world understood that and if people understood that, a lot more of them would stand up. Mm-hmm. But they think they can avoid it and they can't.
Everyone's obsessed with the positive experiences, but nobody is chasing any kind of negative experience, which is why, I chose fighting, right? Yeah. But I believe every man should be choosing to do something which is extremely hard, which they hate, which sucks because you don't appreciate life at all without it. The reason people are taking so many drugs, for example, the reason people chase higher highs all the time and the reason they're constantly taking drugs and trying to and drink more alcohol and chasing higher highs all the time is because they don't experience any lows. Mm-hmm. So you always want a higher high, but I promise you the high you're at is fine if you balance it with a little bit of low. If you bounce down there for a week and come back to where you were, you're good. Constantly chasing higher highs is hedonism, which ends in one place. Mm-hmm. It always ends in a downward spiral, right? And butt sex, like the whole city of LA.
You're obsessed with butt sex.
Well, hey, bro, it's your city. So you need to stay away from constantly chasing those things. You need to artificially manufacture some lows. I chose fighting because fighting will do that for you. It's hard. It's stressful. You're worried. You train all the time. You're exhausted. You win. You lose. You get hurt. You go hospital. There's a lot of negatives in it, but there's not enough negatives in men's lives today. But you're asking me about jail as if it's a good or bad thing, or if I'm worried about going back. But to me, all experiences are on an even level playing field. Whether it's a good experience or a bad experience, it doesn't matter. There's experiences and then there's comfort. And it doesn't matter if you're a good experience or a bad experience. As long as you're on the experiences side, I'm happy for you. Mm-hmm. My father died, which was a negative experience, but you learn a lot from it. It was an experience. It was a period of life where I was learning and growing. As was jail, as was sitting in the Bugatti meeting, as was buying a jet, as will be conquering the crypto space, as will be getting fucking stabbed when he finally gets hold of me and I can't block it with my hand. That's life. Every time something bad happens to you, you are your most competitive if you are motivated by it, right? So
getting hit and hitting back, that's the essence of life. It's the essence of business. It's the essence of everything. So absolutely. So sparring is a fantastic way to put it out, but also in every single thing that happens in your life, whenever anything bad happens to you, you can be motivated by it. Tristan said in jail, he quoted the Count of Monte Cristo. Was it 13 years in the Chateau d'If? Then the world is mine. So he's saying, we got hit, we got thrown in jail. And the story of the Count of Monte Cristo is a really long story, but he gets thrown in jail unfairly. He comes out of jail, becomes one of the wealthiest and most powerful men in the world, and then gets loads of revenge on all the people who put him in jail. And Tristan kept saying, 13 years in the Chateau d'If, because he spent 13 years in jail, and then the world is mine. So even when we got hit with a matrix attack, it excited us. We're like, they put us in jail, but now everyone talks about us. Okay, we'll get out one day. 10 years, 5 years, one day we'll get out. How do we take that attention? How do we monetize it? How do we become bigger and better? The people who have attacked me are furious. They made me more famous than ever before. So when we were in jail, when bad things are happening to us, we were literally sitting there planning. Cool. What's going to happen when we're out? Fine. We're going to have a bunch of interviews. I need to be on point. I need to be sharper. Give me a dictionary. I need to learn new words. What's going to happen if I'm going to bring this unfortunate clip up? What am I going to say? What's going to happen if they try to attack me from this angle? You have to plan and you have to fight. You have to be excited by it. So getting hit by things, you can either go, I got beat up, it's so hard, I'm in jail, I miss my family, or you can go, okay. Give me all the time I need to prepare for my counterattack, my revenge. I'm just getting started. I think that a lot of people don't understand that it's all of the challenges and struggles that's going to make them, it's either going to make or break them. I don't read studies very often, but I was sent a study about stress from somebody. It's probably the best study I ever read. And it's talked about the placebo effect of stress. And it said that they took some of the most stressed people in the world, CEOs, etc. And the ones who believed that stress was really bad for them were dying earlier because of the cortisol inside of their blood. And they said stress was really bad for them. They were having heart attacks. But the ones who believed that stress was good for them and it made them perform, I perform under pressure, stress is good for me, they were living longer. So the same drug inside of their blood, how they framed it inside of their mind had different effects on their body. So from that point onwards, even though I already thought this way, I knew I was the right way. I knew it was the right way to think innately because I've done pretty good in life that way. But this confirmed it. Every time I feel stressed or under pressure, I get excited. I hate to not be stressed. I wake up and I'm like, everything's good. Yes. Like that's just how I am, right? But it's how you adopt, it's how you look at the problems and how you use them to fuel you. So the question was, what's the problem for the average man today? What's the biggest problem? I think there's a whole host of problems. But what you have to do is frame it inside of your mind and understand that all of those problems are going to allow you, give you the fuel and the unlimited motivation that you need to become a successful and beautiful individual if you frame it in the right way. If you take a man and give him a life shielded from problems that he never has any to face, I guarantee you he's terrible at being a man. The best men in the world have gone through shit. That's why women love scars, because it didn't kill you. That's the whole point of it, right? So the best thing you can do as a man is look and go, okay, this is hard, this is hard, this is hard, this is hard. I feel negative because these are all so difficult. I'm struggling with X, Y, Z. Let me internalize all of that and turn it into a superpower. Let me become genuinely uncomfortable with my situation in life and go and fix things. Because like I said, the universe is absolutely and utterly very giving. And if you truly hated being in the position you were in, you wouldn't be there very long. Yeah. So I think that the number one problem with the world today and the biggest problem that men face isn't the problems themselves. It's just the way that they've been taught to mentally frame issues. People think when bad things happen to them that somehow they're a victim to the universe and bad things only happen to me and this is so terrible. And they don't understand that bad things happen to everybody. And the most successful person you know had all those probably, maybe even worse, at least the same bad things happened to them. They just framed it differently and used it. That's the difference. So
I'm happy for all of it. Jail, matrix attacks, everything. But I just look around me at all these other men. They have no savagery about them. There's no conqueror spirit, nothing. Genghis Khan had the whole world and still wanted more. As did the Romans, as did the British. Like the days of old, nothing was enough. The world was not enough. All of it. Everything. That's how I function. I see people like, oh yeah, you know, I've got a BMW. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody cares. I could buy 100 new cars today and I still would be like, should have bought 101. You can be very happy and also extremely discontent. I know my life is perfect objectively. I'm realistic to know that I've got one of the best experiences on the planet. I understand that. But I'm also waking up every day on fire to get more, which is how I got here in the first place. Lacking motivation is just lacking the basic masculine essence of a conquest. Which means you were born to be conquered. Because you're either conquering or you're conquered. There's no in-betweens in this reality. You're either going to end up a peon in someone else's empire, or you're going to forge your own. Or you can unite with a band of brothers and be a knight or a nobleman within a brotherhood, which is genuinely conquering Earth. Or Tristan, he'll say, oh, Andrew's the top G, fine. But I am the number 2 in command of a huge, vastly wealthy empire. I just don't understand. And I'm saying this randomly as I'm driving. I just look into the cars of people around me, and they're just so cucked. I don't understand how they're living these existences. And even worse, if you're that cucked, if you're that happy with the baseline medium, if you're that happy with the norm, you can't compete against the outliers. Outliers are always going to wake up and say, I'd rather lose everything than not have everything. I can't live this mediocre existence. I'd rather lose everything I have in pursuit. Get rich or die trying. How can you outcompete that man? His mind is there. He's ready for all eventualities, for exceptionalism, an exceptional reality. If you ever find yourself struggling with motivation, you need to understand that you're broken as a man. Men don't struggle with motivation. That's one thing men don't struggle with. Because a man is never happy. He's never content. He's constantly looking to conquer and take over and get more and more and more.
Why did Christopher Columbus get on a boat? I don't know. You tell me.
Valid.
Maybe he should have just sat at home with his money, getting jobs, having sex, and no, have kids. Don't take any risks. Don't put a target on your head. Why do that? You could just have sex and stay home. You could have sat around having a degenerate hedonistic life and nobody would fucking remember his name. Or perhaps he thought, fuck it, I'm going to risk my life and do something different. The target on my head doesn't cross my mind. I don't care. If you're going to work. If you're going to chill, then chill. You don't want to be a dim light that's half on. You want to do one or the other. Now, I find chilling and relaxing, I guess this is my personality, it makes it easy, extremely stressful. So there's nothing more stressful for me than trying to not do my work. Because if I'm not doing my work, then I'm thinking about the work I'm supposed to do, and I'm more stressed than doing the work. So everyone goes, Andrew, you need to just chill. I'm like, that sounds terrible. That sounds like the most stressful situation to be in. So all I want to do is work, right? But if you're going to do something, you should be doing your absolute best at it. What's the point in doing anything if you're not going to do your best at it? Right? And it's amazing how things can translate, right? If you do your best in one thing, it's not only the fact that the way you do one thing is the way you do everything, but if you do your best in one thing, it can radiate out across your entire life. That's the greatest thing about being a man. As a man, when you upgrade your life and you become a better man, by extension, you automatically improve the lives of all of your friends, of your woman, of your children, of your community, of your country. We radiate. It's amazing. You can put a little bit more effort in bed with your girlfriend, make her a little bit happier. She'll then cook your breakfast, gives you a little bit extra time to work. Before you know it, you got a Bugatti. Boom. That's how I got mine. But putting in that extra effort pays off, dividends. And you can look at it spiritually. You can be philosophical about it and say that God rewards people who try hard. That's how I like to see it. God is literally looking at all of us, no matter which God you believe in, and he's saying, all these people I've created, who's thankful? Right? Because any one of us could have lost our eyesight to bacteria at age 2. Any one of us. And we didn't. So he's saying, who's thankful enough for what they have that they're trying their absolute best with it all of the time? Because if you do that, he's like, I like this guy. I like him. He's cool. Give him blessings. Give him something. It's amazing what comes your way. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm extremely difficult on myself. And I will say right now, the only thing I've really tried my best at is to stay out of jail. And that's not because I'm afraid of jail. That's because I know my haters are going to seethe when I walk. That's my motivation. If someone were to say to me, Andrew, if you make an extra $1 or if you throw an extra punch, endless blessings will come your way, it would be disingenuous for me to sit and say I couldn't do that.
For me, what I decide what's true and what isn't is the things that allow me to become most competitive. Depression is not real because that allows me to become more competitive. I don't give a shit what paperwork you pull out your ass and which depressed person or psychologist comes in here and tries to explain to me how depression works. I'm more competitive if I don't believe in it. Because then when bad things happen to me, it doesn't cross my mind that I might catch depression. It is not even an idea in my me and Tristan are in jail. Everyone's depressed. We're smoking cigarettes and dancing around. We can't be depressed because we don't believe in it. So I'll only adopt ideas that make me hyper competitive. And sometimes that's going to make you very humble. Sometimes it's very competitive to think, shit, I might lose here. Sometimes competitive to be delusional and think you can't lose. If you corner me and there's no way out but to fight and 10 men are going to try and kill me, I'm going to believe I can win. Delusional, maybe, but it makes me the most competitive. That's what I believe. I've decided. My brain works that way. Which mindset is the most competitive? Which mindset is the most useful to me right now? Which emotion is the most useful to me? I change emotions. We can all change our emotions if we really want to. You could all think yourself sad. You could all think yourself happy. Everyone can do it, but people take too long to do it. You need 10 minutes. Get good at it. Give yourself a few seconds. And then you have to decide which emotion puts me in the most competitive state right now. And you'll often find that happy is not one you choose very often. It's not a competitive emotion to be happy. Oh, I'm happy. Then you don't get shit done. I like to feel proud all the time. I like to feel, proud is certainly my favorite default emotion. I like to be proud of what I've done and who I am and what I have. Proud is what I always revert to, which allows me to be competitive. I don't have time to think anything that isn't competitive. Anything that makes me non-competitive to me is not true. So I know exactly what you're saying. I could argue that there are universal truths to the universe, and there are. But if we're going to accept the mind frame that we all live in our own truth, which I guess is the way the world's going, then your truth needs to be, okay, which mindset, which belief makes me the most competitive, fearsome individual? And then you should adopt that, and then you should be as successful as humanly possible.
Yeah, well, these people seem to sit and say, I'm really unhappy with X, but then stay doing X. So I don't believe they're truly actually unhappy. What you'll notice if you live life long enough is that somebody will sit and say to you, I'm unhappy being a loser. You say, why are you a loser? I just sit at home and play video games 7 days a week. And you're like, okay. And maybe 3 days of the week, they're unhappy doing that. But 4 days of the week, they don't really, it doesn't really bother them. It doesn't really bother them. Because if it bothered them 7 days a week, guess what?
They would fix it.
Correct. Yeah. So I have very little sympathy for people. And that's not because I'm not a nice person, but it's because I've been so hard on myself and I've been through so many things that were difficult, and I've been through so much pain and trauma myself, some of it self-inflicted, some of it given to me by God to make me a better person. But I've been so difficult on myself. It's very hard for me to look at somebody who's refused to be difficult on themselves and see them as my equal or feel sympathy or pity for them. Why would I feel pity for somebody who took the easy route when I took the hardest possible route? Yeah. I took the hardest possible way to be the man I am, and you were too big of a, and now you want me to feel sorry for you? I don't feel sorry for you. Yeah. I don't feel sorry for these people, because as a man, you can be anything you decide you want to be. That's the beauty of being a male. You can build your character completely from the ground up just for video game. Every single thing about me that people respect, I did. I was not born a world champion kickboxer. I was not born this intelligent or intellectual. I was not born this rich. I was not born this strong. I was not born this confident. I was not born this interesting. I was not born this charismatic and humble and gorgeous and tall and strong and sexy. I was not born none of these things. I became these things myself.
Hey, Andrew. So how do I get like a six-pack? What's the fastest way to get a six-pack?
Why does it have to be quick? Why does it have to be easy? Why do you think life is all quick and easy? Why can't it be hard and difficult? Why can't you suffer? Because suffering is what gives it value. If everyone had a six-pack and it was quick and easy, then it wouldn't be valuable, would it? If everyone walked around with a six-pack and they got it easily, then no one would give a shit. The whole point is that it's difficult to get. Value is linked to difficulty. If you want something that is valuable, you need something which is difficult to obtain. The fact that you just said you wanted it quick and easily shows that your whole mental model is fucked. You shouldn't be thinking about quick and easy. You should be thinking about hard, suffering, pain, going through it. That's what you should be thinking about. This is going to be hard, but I'm going to do it anyway. Because when it is done, then everyone's going to know that I went through something difficult. Why do you want it to be quick and easy? lessons and trauma, and the more you go through, the better of a man you are. And if you were to find the best men on the planet, I guarantee they've been through a bunch of terrible things. And you can use that trauma to become a better person, or you can let that trauma consume you and destroy you. But I thank God for all of it, because it gave me endless power to become the person I am. If you're truly angry or truly unhappy, then you can't sleep. And if you can't sleep, then you get twice as many hours as everybody else, become monumentally successful. So there's advantages. There's advantages to difficulty. I am glad for everything that happened to me. I wouldn't change a thing. Thank God for all of it. So truthfully, I think I'm lucky. I've been blessed. The reason I talk about these things is not to tell people I've had a hard life. It's to make it clear to people who are complaining about their own lives that the bad things that are happening to you are what you need to become the man that you want to be. I can't talk about women because I'm not one. I actually think trauma is terrible for women because it masculinizes them. They become cold. And that's not attractive, right? We want feminine, pure, protected women. I don't want a woman to ever go through anything bad in her life. I think a man should go through it for her and protect her, because I think that's how she's her best self as a woman. But I think to be your best self as a man is the absolute opposite. When someone emails me and says, "This has happened to me," I'm like, good. No, what do you mean good? It's terrible. How else are you going to become important? How else are you going to find endless fire to get up and struggle in the face of the competition that's out here in the world? How else are you're going to do all that with a nice, cushy life? If any man's honest with himself, think about the biggest transformative stages in your life. Think about the times you got the most work done. It was a bad part of your life. You were heartbroken, or, you lost a house, or broke, or whatever. That's when you did shit. When everything was fine, when the woman's still sucking dick, the mortgage is paid, dinner's on time, it's kind of doop-de-doop-de-doo, little by little, do a little bit of work, do a little bit of relax. But the big events come from trauma. This is it. So it's a cheat code. It's a cheat code to climb the mountain.
I think we're here to struggle and to learn. I don't think we're here to be happy. I think we're here to do important things, and important things are going to be difficult, and they're going to be hard, and you're going to get frustrated. But that's what gives you purpose. That's why when we keep going back to the happy argument, I've always found that kind of frustrating and annoying. Yeah. Someone goes, "Oh, but I want to be happy." Why? Why do you want to sit there and laugh? Like you were happy your entire childhood. That's your happy days. You're allowed to be happy as a kid. Right. It's all over now, right? You're a man. Anyone who's chasing happiness, I think that's a very feminine frame. I understand why some women just want to be happy. I don't know how it feels to be a girl, because I'm not one. But in my experience, I know women who just want to be happy. Yeah. Girls just want to have fun. Yeah. Fine. But you're a man, right? And if you're a man, then it's absolutely an utterly different experience of life. I think we're here to struggle. I think we're here to endure pain. Yeah. I think we're here to just see how hard we are to kill. I think that going through terrible things and living through them and coming out the other side is one of the most fantastic things about being human. It's almost like once you understand what life is really about, there's no emotion which isn't enjoyable. The only emotional state which can be seen as detrimental is feeling nothing at all. And if you're sitting at home and you're feeling truly heartbroken, at least you're feeling something, right? I think this is what God wants from us, from all of us. It doesn't matter what the adversary is. It doesn't matter how much you're hurt by it. You need to allow it to motivate you to push harder and show your power, and show your resilience. And even before I became Islamic, I very much understood that when bad things happen to me, this is a lesson from the universe or from God or from the creator to stand up and show who I am and who I can be, and to take all of the pain and anguish and disappointment and heartbreak and all of this and turn it into a force I can use for good and to make myself a better person. And I think if you don't approach life this way, that you're always going to struggle, because life is hard for everybody. It's going to be hard. It doesn't matter who you are or what you do. You need to be resilient to it. I ask people have these beliefs. Doesn't matter what their belief is. Doesn't matter. They believe in something. I say, where did you get that belief from? And they don't know. Where did you get that belief? Who told you that? And does that person have your best interests at heart? Think about it. Think about all the things you truly believe. Think where you learned it, and think if that person actually gives a fuck about it. Because the only thing you should be learning from is personal experience for people who genuinely care about you and love you. Most people are out here believing things and repeating things that were told to them by people who don't even fucking like them, by their enemies. Everyone's mind is fundamentally fucked. All of it. Look at me. I'm a guy who decided to conquer social media. I blinked, I cured my brain. I used basic indefatigability. I used perspicacity. I used compendiousness. I used my mind and I focused and I fucking conquered the world in a few short months. It's not difficult. There's just no competition because everybody's fucking distracted. They're getting distracted by this, distracted by that, watching fucking Netflix, jerking off to Pornhub like fucking jackasses. It's so easy to win. You can control your own mind. It seems that nobody fucking can. I can't imagine truly wanting to quit something and not with me. I can't imagine. Like, when I talk to people who say, I want to quit smoking, I say, when? They go, oh, well, soon. But that means you don't want to quit. You want to keep smoking for a while and quit later. Like, I could quit cigars today. Like, it wouldn't even plague my mind. Like, if I wanted to quit, I'd quit. I can't imagine a mind frame or a mindset where I want to do something and can't do it. Right? Life is hierarchical. There's always going to be kings and there's always going to be peasants. If you have a mind that you can't control, then you're never going to be a king. You're going to be a peasant. That's your life. You have a peasant's life ahead of you, and that's your destiny. Enjoy. Right? There's always been peasants. That's life. But I believe that the most important thing you can do as a man is to gain control of your mind. Once you have control of your mind, life is so ridiculously easy. It's so ridiculously easy. It's so easy to be in. People say to me, Tate, you're in good shape. All you do is drink vodka and travel the world. You're never even home. You never even have a gym. How do you do it? It's ridiculously easy if you control your mind. If I decide to do 1,000 push-ups, I'll do them. Maybe I have to do them one at a time. Maybe I'll get tired. Maybe I need a break. I'm going to do 1,000 because I said I'm going to do 1,000. It's not fucking hard. Everyone knows what they're supposed to do. Once you control your mind, it's easy, right? Getting over a breakup with that bitch. You miss that girl. You're upset. You miss her with all your heart. Da-da-da. But once you realize she's gone, if you control your mind, she's gone now. She's gone now. I'm going to miss her. That's a shame. Off to the gym. You either control your mind or you don't. If you cannot control your own mind, then you are just a feather in the wind of life, because your own mind is the only thing you can control. You can't control the weather. Right. You can't control other people. You can't even control whether your heart stops beating. You might have a heart attack tomorrow. You can't control anything besides what you think. If you cannot control your own mind, then you go through life with zero control, zero influence. You can't control anything. You're just a feather in the wind, waiting for life to blow you from happy place to sad place to happy place to sad place, completely hoping on the gods to be fortunate to you, because if any genuine discomfort comes your way, you're fucked. It is trained like everything else in life. You need to live like God is always watching. You may have the opportunity to do something bad, or you may have the opportunity to steal some money or snake somebody, but in the end, you're going to pay for that and the bill will be paid. Mm-hmm. I think if you do the right thing, in my experience, if you're a person who does the right thing, firm handshake, is on time, doesn't lie to anybody, does what he's supposed to do, is honest with a good heart, is genuinely polite to everyone he meets. If you are that person, you get very far in life. I've yet to meet people who just do all the simple things right, who completely fail at life. But I've met a lot of people who snake or steal some money and they get really rich, then they lose it all, or they get rich and end up a gambling addict or depressed or etc. So you have to just understand that God is always watching. He's going to reward you in the end. That's the first thing. And the second thing I will say is that you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with, and you need to curate your reality. I think the biggest problem with young people today is that they don't curate their realities heavily enough. The people that they want to spend most time with aren't adding any value to their lives, and then they end up wondering why they don't get it. When I tell people that you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with, everyone agrees. They go, yeah, that's probably true. The 5 people you spend the most time with, that's what you're going to end up like. They say, yeah, that's true. And then they continue to hang around with people who they don't want to be. Why? There has to be a point. There has to be a point where you sit and go, okay, you're my friends, et cetera, et cetera. I love you guys. Yeah, we can talk, whatever, but I'm on a different life path. You have to leave some people behind. If you were to come hang out with me and you were in a room with me and my 5 friends, you'd feel self-conscious.
You're right.
You don't feel with your friends. If you were to come hang around with me and my crew, you would be self-conscious, and that self-consciousness would motivate you, or they would certainly instill the discipline required for you to change. You don't feel self-conscious amongst your peers. That's why you don't change. If you were to get in a room and you're the only person who ain't a fucking monster, you'd want to become a monster.
Do you have something to prove?
I think everybody on the planet has something to prove. If you walk through life and feel like you have nothing to prove, then you're a fucking loser. If you wake up each day and go, I don't owe anybody anything, I don't have to prove anything to anybody, then you are a loser because you are absolutely not being correct. You must prove yourself to other people. You must prove yourself to your bloodline. You must prove yourself to God. God hates the lazy. He can't stand them. If he gives you all these genetic dispositions and these natural God-given gifts, if you have 2 arms and 2 legs and you can think and you're not trying your absolute best, that's the reason you're not lucky. He doesn't like you. He likes the people which show him the beauty of his own creation. He likes to give somebody building blocks and them to build something amazing. It's the best thing about being a man. You get to build who you are. God loves to see that. Those people, for some reason, seem to be enormously lucky, right? The person who goes, I don't have to prove anything to God. I don't owe all of my ancestors any effort. You know, for 5,000 years, people were dodging saber-toothed tigers, catching the plague, and running from Genghis Khan just for my stupid ass to be born. I don't owe them anything. I don't owe them a thing because I want to play video games. These people are fucking losers. You should walk through earth with force inside of you. As I walked into this hotel reception, everybody walked. Not because they know who I am, but because as I move, even if it's behind their head, people feel something. It's an energy that comes from brutal competence. That's what happens when a predator walks in a room. You pay attention next time you're in a restaurant. If a man who's truly dangerous walks in, nearly every other man kind of looks up at the same way. Feel it. Need to or you don't survive. We've evolved with that to live. That's who I am. I couldn't imagine not being that man. I've done that because I've been trying to prove myself to my lineage my entire life. I wake up every day with something to prove. I have hundreds of millions of dollars. I wake up and think, fuck, more. I'm in fantastic shape, 4 times world champion. Fighting the Matrix out here by myself, more. I will have to be braver. I must try harder. All I do is prove myself. So when I hear people go, I don't have nothing to prove, then you're a fucking loser. Peasants have never felt like they needed to prove anything. But kings felt like they needed to go and conquer land. Isn't that it's coincidental that the king, who already had it all, felt like he needed to go to some far-flung land and conquer it and take it and prove he's the king. But the peasants, oh, I don't have to prove nothing to nobody. You're a fucking loser then. You're a dummy. I absolutely and utterly completely have everything to prove to everybody all of the time. That's who I am. I will prove anything to anybody. If I sit and say X, I will prove it to anyone. I can be checked at any time.
And their ancestors who fought fucking saber-toothed tigers or escaped the Mongol hordes or managed to dodge bombs in the Second World War. All the shit they went through just for this fucking cretin to be born. And to look at him, look at who he is, listen to his life story, listen to what he does on a day-to-day basis, and they would feel nothing but fucking shame. Your ancestors did all that shit, all that struggling to survive, hunting and gathering, fucking avoiding enemies, anything it took, dying at age 30 from a tooth infection, all the crap they went through just for you to be born so you could smoke weed and jack off. That's what your ancestors died for. That's what they worked so hard for. That's who you are. That's the end of your fucking bloodline. Do you feel no shame? It's fucking shameful. My ancestors will look at me and think everything we went through was fucking worth it. Your ancestors will look at most of these people, their ancestors look at them and feel nothing but fucking disgust. Well, I guarantee even their fucking living relatives, their living parents aren't even proud of them. Like the fuck, your own father's ashamed of you. And you don't even feel fucking motivated to do shit. It's a fucking shame. If you were to go and look your father in the eye and said, you know what? I could have been a UFC champion. I could have been multi-millionaire, I could have been a race car driver, I could have been a fucking nuclear physicist, could have done all these things, but I was busy on Pornhub. You think he's gonna be proud of you? Fuck no. Fuck no. And there's men here who will deny it, right? There's men who will go, no, 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 no. But those are the ones who are most lost. And they should look in the mirror, look deep in their own eyes and say, yes, I'm fucking disgusting. I can change this. That's the beauty about being a man. If you're disgusting, you can change it. That's the beauty. There's nothing stopping you changing it.
You're right.
And you must accept it. You must accept it first. Most of these people, what they do is they hang around with other disgusting people, and then they're a little group of disgusting people, and they think, well, I'm not disgusting, everyone's disgusting, and this is normal, and it's normal to be a fucking jerk off. Not in my world, it isn't. It's not normal to be a fucking jerk off in my world. It's the denial that's going to hold you back the most. People who go, yes, I'm wasting my potential. Those are the ones who have potential. The ones who stand up and go, I am wasting my potential. I could be anything and I am not that yet. They have a chance. The men who go, well, no, actually, I'm fine. They're fucked. They're inside the matrix, fully slave-minded. They're a waste of time. But if you sit there and go, you know what? Yeah, I am wasting my potential. Yes, I can be more than I am. Even if I'm already great, I can do better. As good as I am, I still push myself to the limit every single fucking day. I have every single thing a man could possibly want. I'm still pushing myself. This is your prerogative as a man, but you need to be instilled with a sense of duty to your bloodline. You must want it. You need to want it deep inside your soul. I can't die as anything less than emperor. It's my destiny. There are duties that men must fulfill, whether to God or to your bloodline. I didn't say depression isn't real. I said feeling depressed is real. But the idea that depression is going to strike you in your mind and there's nothing you can do about it isn't real. When you believe in something, you give it power. So I tried to say that when I felt at my lowest and I achieved the most I've ever achieved in my life, the reason I was capable of doing that is because I didn't believe in the paradigm of being a depressed person. I just believed that this is how I currently feel and fuck it. I'm going to do whatever it takes to get my life to be better. I don't even give a shit about right and wrong. You can tell me you can give me every scientific proof in the world, depression, but I refuse to believe in things that take my power away from me. I'm only going to construct a mental model that allows me to be as powerful as possible. If believing in the idea of depression is going to take my own power away, then I won't believe in it. I don't want to believe in things that make me weak. So when people email me and they start saying, I'm depressed. And what's funny is this, I talk to them and they desperately defend the idea of depression. I'm like, my friend, you just told me you're too depressed to be successful and depression has destroyed your life and you lost your girl. I'm telling you that the enemy in your life isn't real. And you're now sending me 10 emails a week trying to convince me that your enemy is a real thing. And they're defending it because it's a cure-all excuse. Depression or sadness is a cure-all excuse for men to use for failure. You get to roll out, be fat, be out of shape, be broke, be unimportant with no girlfriend. And instead of the world thinking you're a loser, you get to say, I'm not a loser. I'm depressed. It's a shield. Yeah. And I say, that's why you don't want to lose your shield. Because now you have accountability. Now you have performance. It's a cop out. Fuck it off. I don't give a shit if it's real or not. We're not about that. We're talking about success here. Get rid of your excuses. Stop defending the thing that's ruined your life and get to fucking work. And every time anyone has ever listened to me in history, ever, every single one of them's transformed their lives and messaged me positive messages afterwards. Every single fucking time. That's why I'm antidepressant. Because that pill ain't going to fix you the way becoming the man you wish you were is going to fix you. Conquest is all life's ever been from men. This is what men have an innate desire to conquer. Why did the Romans wake up, melt rocks, make swords, and walk in random directions? They didn't have Google Maps. They didn't have a fucking clue where they were going. Random directions to find some other group of people and fuck them up and take their shit. Why? Conquest. This is a conquer. Why did Genghis Khan ride his ass from Mongolia all the way to fucking Vienna? It's a long way. Why? Conquer. Men are born with this innate desire to conquer. It's inside of us. They're trying to suppress it. They're trying to distract it away from you, tell you that you're wrong. You're toxically masculine. You shouldn't want to conquer. You should want to sit at home and be tolerant. No, you shouldn't. You should want to conquer shit. Doesn't matter if you do it fiscally and make as much money as possible. Doesn't matter if you do it gym, lifting as much weight as possible. Doesn't matter if you're trying to become as big as possible on the internet. You need to find out a way to conquer Earth and conquer. It's the only thing that's going to make you happy as a man. The only thing that's going to make you intrinsically happy is conquest. Nothing else. If you're depressed because you don't conquer shit, conquer something. Get up and do it. It doesn't have to be a negative at all. You can do it in a very, very positive way.
Do you have a little bit of a system you can share on how to make money? I know we've got CobraTate.com. We'll keep shouting it out. But any tips for someone who's ready, but they don't yet know the how?
Completely. So we teach it inside of the real world, of course. I keep mentioning it because it's so important. But there are 3 keys, I believe, to making money. The word of the day. First one's perspicacity. Most people go through life and they do not pay attention. I've said this before and I want to stick by it because it's so important.
You need to pay attention to every single time you spend money because you cannot make money. You're not the Federal Reserve. You're not a government. Governments make money. All of us take money from somebody else or a business or a government. We take money from other things. So the easiest way to learn how to get good at taking money is to pay attention to every time someone takes money from you. So next time you buy a coffee, don't just buy the coffee and drink it and think nothing of it like every brokey. Don't do that. Say, okay, why am I buying this coffee? Okay, I want a coffee. All right. Why am I buying here? Well, this is on my way to work. Is there any competition around? Do I also want breakfast? Do they sell breakfast? No, they don't sell breakfast. They could probably make some more money if they're selling breakfast. Anyway, I walk in, there's a long line. Why is there one member of staff? I'm low on time. I'm about to leave and not buy the coffee. They're about to lose money because it's taking too long. Most of the people in this line are businessmen. Why is there not a cute girl behind the counter? I bet if they paid a cute girl a little bit more, they'd still make a bunch more money because people would come in here to talk to her. Think. And then what you'll do is, as you go through life, every time you spend money, is you'll realize the problem is not how to make money. The problem is how much time you have because there's endless business ideas. There's endless ideas. I walk into a coffee shop and by the time I've walked out, I already know exactly how to open up next door and outcompete them head to toe. I already have worked out how much is the rent, where are they fucking up, what are they not selling that they should be selling, what are they doing good, what are they doing bad, this chair is too hard, I'll wreck them. And I'll send it, and now my network is so powerful, which is the second point, network, I can send a few messages on WhatsApp and make a bank transfer. And 2 months later, there's a brand new coffee shop next door with my name on it, putting them out of business. So the first thing is you have to pay attention. Because if you pay attention, you'll start to learn that money is everywhere. Every building is owned. These are skyscrapers, bro. Billions. Every apartment nowadays is a million. You drive down a street in London, you're driving past trillions of dollars. There's money everywhere. It's all around us. When I was broke, I thought that the world was broke. I thought that there was no money. And then I got rich and realized that I was completely and utterly wrong. There's so much money. It's everywhere. If I go to try and buy a plane or a jet, they're always sold out. My yacht is a fucking 6-year waiting list. I want a Bugatti. They launch it. The email comes to my email address. 2 minutes later, gone. There's so much money. If I want a diamond watch or a $1 million watch or $1 million Rolex, you can't get this stuff. There is so much money out there. Once you get to a certain echelon, you realize there's money fucking everywhere. So there's plenty of money in the world. People with no money are just not very good at taking it. So you need to start paying attention. It's the first thing. Second thing is network. It's hard to make money if you don't know anybody who has money. If you sit in a room full of ice cream experts and all they talk about is ice cream, how to make ice cream, the different flavors, how to store it, how to move it, how to sell it, even by accident, if you hang around with these people long enough, when someone asks you a question about ice cream, guess what you're going to know the answer. You're going to say, you know what? That's because it's pistachio, and that needs to be 2 degrees higher than chocolate. And you're going to look like a smart ass. So if you sit in a room full of people who are making a bunch of money, everyone understands this. Your network is your net worth. You're the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Everybody understands this. And then they still hang around with fucking losers because they're dummies. You're right. I am the sum of the 5 people I spend the most time with. Anyway, this is my friend Nick. He's so funny when we go drinking because he gets really drunk. Losers. I don't talk to anybody who is not winning. Everybody whose phone, every phone call I will answer, if I answer a phone call, it is from a winner. I don't talk to losers. Everyone I talk to is rich. Everyone I talk to is making money. Everybody. If my entire reality is full of multimillionaires making money, how am I not going to make money? And this is why network is so important, is because it's the same reason that wolves hunt in packs. If you're a lone animal, you have one set of eyes. But if you're a pack, you're watching every single angle, every single side. Perhaps I might miss something. I'm as perspicacious as possible. But one of my friends identifies that the war in Ukraine is going to change and the Russian ruble is going to pump. And you can make a bunch of money on a Forex trade, for example. I may not have noticed, but he'll notice. Now I've made a bunch of $1 million for getting a text message, right? Because I have friends who are paying attention. All of us are paying attention. So your network is super important. That's another thing. We'll go into this because I have something called the War Room, which is also on corporatate.com. I'll let people read for themselves, but that's my private network. And we specifically talk about money and a few other things. But that's
is that like more like a mastermind?
It's the real world's how to make money and the War Room's what to do with money, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's all on corporatate.com. I don't want to get off track, but it's there. But second is network. And third, it's to identify the reason why you don't have as much money as you want so far. And there's one of three reasons. You are either lazy, stupid, or arrogant. Those are the only three reasons anyone is poor. And you have to identify and choose which one it is. The majority of people are not the one they think they are. The majority of people are the one I'm about to say at the end. So let's start with lazy. There are a lot of lazy people. The unfortunate reality about money is that you are competing. So it's player versus player. It's like anything in the world. If you want that beautiful girl, so does everyone else. You have to win the competition. You want that car, you have to get it first. You want that money, everyone wants that money. You have to compete. It's competitive. Business is competitive. You are competing against people like me. You're competing against people like the people in my network. You're competing about people who only talk about money, who understand money very well, who operate in jurisdictions all around the planet, who are extremely well connected, who know things before you know them, who have mass influence and mass power and mass resource. You're competing against me. This is what you must understand. You're not waking up going, I want to make some money. You're competing against people like me. You're competing against billionaires. You're competing against hedge funds. How did these hedge funds keep growing? Where are they getting that money from? From the brokies. They're robbing you. They're robbing all the poor people from the pension fund, dummy. That's where they get it from. This is who you're competing against. So the competition is absolutely and utterly fierce. Understanding that you're a man with a small pistol up against a mighty army. If you want to add a little bit of laziness on top, you're fucked. So when I say people are lazy, they go, I'm not lazy. I work hard every day. You work 8 hours a day? You work eight? The fuck? If I'm awake, I'm working. I'll be driving my Bugatti Chiron through Dubai, working. I'm texting at the same fucking time. I don't take a second off. I don't take a minute off. I don't relax. I don't rest. I don't stop. I don't chill. None. Ever. I'm either asleep or at work. That's it. Second I wake up, I check my phone, I begin working. I go to the gym in between sets, I am working. I'm online working the entire fucking day until the second I go to sleep, I am at work. That is all I do. And you are at home competing against me and you want to watch a movie tonight and then say you're not lazy. You're fucking lazy and you're going to lose forever. That's laziness. Next is stupid. I don't think many people are actually too stupid to be rich. You can be below average IQ and still get very rich. A very small percentage of people are too dumb to be rich. The slave minds, they'll never be rich because the matrix tries to keep you poor because when you're poor, you can't think like we talked about earlier. So everything the media tells you is designed to make you poor. They want you broke and struggling because if you rely on the government for food stamps, then you can't argue with the government, can you? So that's what they want. So anyone who believes in the matrix and believes in media and believes in the lies they're told, anyone who sits there and goes, that's true, that it's literally designed to make you broke. That's why it's all a scam. Do your GCSEs, do your A-levels, get in debt, go to uni, get out, get a shit job, get a mortgage. Don't worry, when you've paid that mortgage off when you're 61, then you'll have enough money to go to Spain for holiday. Then your pension comes. Oh, government doesn't have the pension money anymore. Funny enough, hedge fund stole it.
Pay half your money in your life in tax.
Oops-de-doops. And then you wake up one day and go, whoa, I just got fucked. So the whole scam, the whole story is a lie because they want you broke. They don't want you rich. If you're rich, you won't listen to them. So all of it's a fucking lie. And intrinsically, we all know this, right? When I pull up in one of my 30 cars to a gas station and people look at me and they see a Lambo or a Ferrari or a Bugatti or a Koenigsegg, whatever I'm driving, nobody goes, wow, he went to school. No, they think drug dealer, gangster. They're thinking he broke the rules because anyone who follows the rules doesn't get shit. It's all a scam. It's all a fucking lie. So the slave minds are fucked, but those are the only ones who are too stupid to make money. Anybody who understands that the matrix is lying to them is smart enough. So very small percent are too stupid. Inside of our school, at the height of it, before the matrix attack, we're relaunching now, we had 175,000 students.
Wow.
When we had 175,000 students, maybe 2,000 we kicked out for being too stupid. It's step by step. Do this, do that, do this, and don't be lazy. The fuck? It's not that hard, right? So stupid's not the problem. So we have people who are lazy, very few are stupid, but the majority, the main reason most people are broke is because they are arrogant. I will sit here and say all the things I've said. I will do this, take time out of my life
for free. Somebody at home will watch and digest it for free. They will agree with the things that are being said, or at least be entertained enough to continue to watch. And then I'll say, I'll teach you how to make money online. CobraTate.com, you can join the real world. And they'll sit there and go, nah, I'll do it myself. They're arrogant. They have these egos from fuck knows where because they didn't earn it. And they're just too arrogant to listen to anybody. I became world champion by listening to my coach. I didn't become world champion by walking in and saying, I'll do it myself. That's not how you get anywhere in life. You have to listen. If Mike Tyson were to walk in, or if Elon Musk were to walk in here and talk to me about money, I wouldn't be sitting there going, I can do that. I'd be like, oh, Mr. Elon, richest man in the world. Hello, very nice to meet you. Please, even though I already understand I don't want to launch a car brand or put rockets in space, please, you must know some things I don't know. How do you deal with the currency fluctuations? Does inflation impact how much it costs for you to send a rocket into space? Like, I'd ask him something that's useful, right? But some people are so brutally arrogant that they'll sit here and they'll listen to all the things I said, and they'll agree that I'm intelligent, and they'll agree I'm massively successful, but they'll sit there and go, yeah, but you know what? I'll do it myself. I don't want to join that school because, I'll do it myself. They're arrogant. Everybody's fucking arrogant. I sit with people who I used to go to school with from Luton who are still broke and tell them how to make money. And you know what they do? They answer back. Yeah, but it's not that simple because, the wife gets the kid, and you know what? And I don't like to do things that way. The way I like to work, the way you like to work is why you're fucking broke. So what the fuck are you talking about? You just sat here and wasted 10 minutes of my time. I told you how to take your business of painting and decorating or whatever the fuck you're doing and make a serious amount of money. And now you're telling me the way you like to work? Then stay fucking broke. The fuck you want me to do? What level of arrogance? But this is people. They'll sit with a multimillionaire and tell you their view. Oh, I think that know when you're out qualified and accept it and learn. So we all do. I'm not going to I can't play piano for shit. If the piano teacher walked in here and said, this is what you do, and I said, well, I like to move my hands this way. What kind of dumbass? But this is the arrogance people operate under. So I'd say 20% of people are lazy, 20 to 25%. A large portion of the world are not lazy. They're actually working exceptionally hard, but they're doing the wrong thing. 5% of people are too stupid. So say 25%, 5% is 30%. But 70% of people are brutally arrogant, and this is why they are poor. That's the truth.
And how did you make your first million?
Good question. I've talked about this already. It was an unorthodox strategy. I've talked about it at length, so I won't give the whole story because it's too long. But I identified a gap. I identified a market. I approached the scenario and the situation extremely professionally. And I worked exceptionally hard. And I made my first $1 million. So my first millions came from owning a webcam studio. So I saw a little advertisement in the corner of a web page saying, talk to live girls now. I've never been a porn guy. I'm not interested in that shit. But I was like, that's interesting. I know some girls who need some money. Boom, boom, boom. I put together this apparatus, extremely professional. No fucking sexual misconduct. No Dan Bilzerian. No threesomes. Nothing. Very professional. 50-somes if it's down. Very professional outfit. And I used all my business knowledge and all my life knowledge, and I applied it. I worked 22-hour days, I would say. I got to the point where I was so tired. But I'd say, you know what? Give me 20 minutes. And if I could hear the alarm go off, I'd get up. Sometimes I just slept clean through it, and I slept an hour or two. For months and months and months, and I built an empire. I built an insanely large empire at one point. I'm completely out of that business now. But how did I do it?
As in, did you sell it?
I didn't sell it. I just closed it all down. I moved on. I started making a bunch of money, and I found other opportunities. But how did I get that opportunity? Perspicacity. First thing I said, pay attention. I paid attention. I looked at the girl. I'll give you the coffee shop example. This is what I did. I clicked on that advert. I saw the girl sitting there, miserable, waiting for a customer. I thought nobody's going to buy from an unhappy bitch. The men who are paying her are trying to escape an unhappy life, or they wouldn't be doing this shit. So when I got my girls online, smile. Happy girls get paid. That was the token. That was the slogan. Happy girls get rich. Joking. Ha ha ha. Who's you going to pay? You're going to pay the girls like, yeah, having a blast. So I paid attention to the competition. I saw an opportunity just like the coffee shop. So all the things they did wrong. The room was messy. Camera quality was shit. There's the basic stuff. The way the girl acted and interacted. All that stuff. And I applied it all by paying attention countless hours watching everybody else, finding the way to do it better, just like with the coffee shop, and I did it better. So I was absolutely and utterly perspicacious, and that's how you make money. And I did it with that, but I could have done it with anything. And now I do it with everything. The story of me sending a text message via my network and having a coffee shop is a true story. I've been in there maybe twice. I can't even go. And I have mechanisms in place to make sure I'm not robbed too badly, because unfortunately a little bit of cash goes missing. But everything's in place and it makes me money. I don't think I've even drunk my own coffee. I put together a list. It needs to be like this, like this, like this, like this, like this. I have competent people who work for me, which is very hard to find, but I do. They understand to follow the doctrine to the doctrine. And I'm getting money into a bank account. That's it. And you can do that with literally anything if you have a strong network and you pay attention. You can do anything. Even podcasts. We're doing a podcast right now. You guys are already big and successful at this. I'm telling you, you can look at the biggest podcasts in the world and still see what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong. It's just the game. That's the game. And then you have to outcompete everybody else. That's how.
And what's your net worth now?
You know what's? It's kind of funny because
was that that's the shittest question so far on this show.
No, it's I don't actually really know, because they say if you don't know what you've got, they say if you know what you got, you ain't got much, and it's so fucking true. I don't know how much that coffee shop is worth. I know what it makes me roughly a month. I don't know what I could sell it for. I can guess now, like if I were to put a 6 times multiplier on it, I could guess. But then what am I going to do that for every property? How much are all my properties worth? Fuck knows. Different than when I bought them. So the price has gone up, down. I don't even check. Don't know. So how much are the property worth? I can guess. How much the business is worth? I could guess. How much is my brand worth? If I put my name to something, it sells. I've been offered $50, $60, $70 million to sell junk to children, which I wouldn't do because I have too much morals. How much is my brand worth? I'm the most Googled man on the fucking planet. God knows. I couldn't guess. I would guess that because there's different metrics of measuring the value of, say, a business, sometimes they'll put a 3 times multiplier on it, sometimes they'll put an 8 times multiplier on it. Let's put it this way. Hustlers University, 175,000 students, was doing about $13 million a month profit. That's an online educational company. Online is the future. Education is the future. It was seamless, fantastic. It outcompeted Oxford, Cambridge, everybody. It was the best school on the planet. Not just because we had 175,000 students, because we retained 175,000 students. That's the key. 175,000 people were making more money than they invested each month. There's no other platform on the planet that can do that. We had no competition. There was no other online digital learning platform that was even 1% as close. We were the largest online digital teaching platform on the planet. And everybody wants to make money. So everybody wants to join. Male, female, rich country, poor country. That's $13 million a month that was doing. So what's that? $120, $130 million a year? 8 times multiplier? What's that worth? 800 million by itself? Like, depending how you want to estimate it, I can sit here and say I'm worth $200 million or $1 billion. I could be a billionaire with net worth for the things I own, things I'm in control of. Depends on how you want to analyze it. So the reason I sighed is because I don't have a clue how much money I'm worth. I don't know. I know that if I want shit, I get it. I know that the world is effectively free now. I'm at a point of money where I never, ever contemplate the price of anything ever. The whole world, the only way I can explain being ridiculously rich is that everything is completely free. So if you want something, even 1%, even if you want something a little bit, the cost is 0% consideration. So I have 30 cars. I tried to stop at 10, but the car owners know I'm going to buy them, right? So they decide to launch a new Lambo and they text me and go, hey, new Lambo. I don't even ask to see a picture. I'm just like, okay. Because I'm not going to notice the money going missing. So why not at least, I might only glance at it for 3 seconds. I may never even drive it. I might just go, oh, yeah, it's all right. That's worth the money to me because the money is worth nothing. So the whole world is free. If I want coffee, it's like I buy and do things like the same way a person not even buys a coffee, like a penny sweet. It's just like, oh, fuck it. All right. It doesn't mean anything. I can't explain it. I don't have a clue how much money I'm worth. I don't know. That's the answer. I don't know. I just know I can have whatever I want.
Hey, before you go, if you want to watch the full uncut interview with Andrew Tate, no holds barred, like you've never seen before, you can watch it here. And before you go, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel and turn the notification bell on. And remember, if you don't risk anything, you risk everything.